Welcome back to my next episode of Mortgage Knowledge with me, Tana, or Santana, your mortgage knowledge guru. Today, we are going to be talking about pre-qualified versus pre-approval. And I know that is super, super confusing to most of you out there. Like, Santana, why is there even a difference? Let me break it down for you. So, when you first call up a loan officer, myself or anybody out there, they are going to ask you particular questions up front. Okay? They're going to ask you, what's your credit look like? How much money do you make? What do you owe on like a monthly basis? And how much money do you have on you? Those are probably the 4 top questions they are going to ask you when you call them or me. Okay? When you tell us that information, what we're doing is we are going in our system, plugging in all your information, how much money you make, what you're trying to be at, because we are going to ask you that as well. Hey, how much do you think you want to buy? So we're going to ask you a few questions like that. Then we are going to ask you to pull your credit report. Yes, guys, yes. Pulling your credit report is required. If we can't pull your credit report, we can't give you accurate information. So we're going to ask you for all of that information up front. Now, here is the big difference between pre-qualified and pre-approved. The difference is that when you tell me how much you make, all of that other information that I asked you for, and I pull your credit, I'm going to come up with a ballpark figure. And I'm going to say, Mr. and Ms. Borrower, you qualify for $300,000 based on the information you told me and what I have pulled on your credit report. And I'm also going to go over what your FICO scores are. As a side note, most people want to see their credit report. As a lender, we are legally, please know that I said legally unable to provide you a copy of your credit report, plainly due to the fact that we are not the ones collecting the information. You can get a copy of your credit report, but you will have to call the creditor that we use in order to get a copy of that. But you are able to get one. We just can't give it to you legally. So there's that. So when I give you that ballpark figure, that is considered a pre-qualification. That's me just telling you based off the stated information that you gave to me on the phone. Now, that is pre-qualification. Ultimately, it's stated information that you gave to me on the phone. I quickly pulled your credit and I quickly told you, hey, this is what you are going to qualify for. That is pre-qualification. All right, now that we've gone over pre-qualification, let's go over pre-approval and what that means. Ultimately, the pre-approval is that I have gathered documentation from you, I have reviewed the documentation, said that it's okay, and this is what I have pre-qualified you for based on the documentation that you have provided. So, if you are W-2'd employee, meaning you work for someone else, Kroger, Guild Mortgage, anything like that where someone else is signing your paychecks, you are going to need documentation specific for that. If you are self-employed, you are going to need a whole other piece of documentation. When you are self-employed, I will tell you that your pre-approval may take a little bit longer. I will have a whole self-employed video because, guys, it is very, very different than what a W-2 employee is. But we'll save that for another time. So, if you are trying to be pre-approved, your loan officer is going to ask you for documentation. Here is a list of documentation that they will ask you for. Your most recent pay stubs for the last 30 days. So if you are paid weekly, you need 4 paychecks. If you are paid bi-weekly, you need 2 paychecks. If you are paid bi-monthly or semi-monthly, 2 paychecks. If you are paid monthly, 1 paycheck. That's what I mean. We need a whole 30 days worth of pay stubs. The other piece, most recent 2 years W-2s or 1099s. If you do not know what a 1099 is, don't worry about it. Only people who need 1099s are going to be people who are self-employed, number 1. So if you are filing a Schedule C, chances are you have 1099s. If you are on Social Security, disability, or retirement or pension, you are also going to have a 1099 from each of those things. We are going to request the most recent 2 years of those. So we're in 2022, so we're going to ask you for 2021 and 2020. Nothing more than that. We only go 2 years back, guys. The other piece we are going to ask you for are your most recent 2 years tax returns. Now, we need to see your tax returns. Whether or not anybody else sees them is a different story. But we, as your loan officer, need to see your tax returns because we are looking for specific information on there. And if you are self-employed, get ready because that underwriter is going to see those tax returns, and that is how we calculate your income. So we have to have those tax returns. As a side note, if you are owner 25% or more owner of that business, we are going to need your business returns as well. So you want to make sure that you have a list of documentation ready. The other piece we're going to ask you for are your most recent 2 months bank statements to show exactly how many assets you have in your bank. Include retirement, 457B, 403Bs, rollover IRAs, personal IRAs. All of that stuff counts, and it helps your file become stronger. You may not be wanting to move it, which is fine, cool, but we do need that information because it presents that you have excess reserves and makes your profile a tad bit stronger when we go to run you through our automated underwriting system. The other piece is that we are going to ask you for a copy of your ID. The reason we ask for this is because we want to make sure that we are spelling your name correctly, that your date of birth is correct, because when we send these things after you close, the investor is going to make sure that all of this stuff matches. So once you send me all of that documentation, I am going to go through it. I'm going to calculate your income. I'm going to look at your assets, update your assets. I'm going to pull your credit, go through your liabilities and see what I can count, what I can get rid of, all of that good stuff. And then once that is done, I am going to call you back and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Borrower, I can qualify you for actually the same $300,000, or sometimes a little less if you have inflated your income. So the big difference between pre-approval versus pre-qualified: pre-approval, I have your documents and I have looked at everything and I've said, you know what, this all works out. Pre-qualified, I haven't gotten anything from you. I've literally just talked to you and said, hey, you qualify for $300,000 because of what you said. Those are the big differences. And you want to make sure that when you are going to your realtor and you are shopping, that you are pre-approved and not pre-qualified. Pre-qualified doesn't mean anything when you get under contract. Pre-approved is what you need to get under contract. So, to wrap everything up, pre-qualification, stated information that we didn't verify. You should not go shopping with the pre-qualification. Pre-approval, we have gotten all of your documentation, we have looked at everything, calculated everything, made sure it was nice and pretty to even go into underwriting, and we have told you how much you qualify for and are pre-approved for. That's when the words pre-approved come out. Is that all, Santana? No, but you do need a pre-approval in order to start shopping. If you take anything away from this entire video, please take away this: that before you go out and start shopping, you call a lender first to see what you are pre-approved for. The reason that I say this is because even myself, because I'm a human, will start looking up at things that I think I can qualify for. $600,000 houses, $1 million houses. Yes, I have looked at $1 million houses and I'm gonna tell you right now, I can't afford it. But I start looking at all these things because I have my dream home in my head. And then when I go to qualify, they're like, you might want to start looking at reality versus what you think. So before you start shopping and before you call your realtor to say, hey, take me out, call a lender, whether it's me or somebody else, but you should use me because I'm awesome and I'm giving you all this information. But either way, call them and see what you are pre-approved for, not pre-qualified. Pre-approved for, so that we can issue something and get you out there shopping. Thank you for watching this video. If you have comments, questions, put them down below. Remember to like and subscribe for more tidbits, and I will see you on the next Mortgage Knowledge with me, Tana. Have a good one.